Meet Tom. He's 6 years old, and the world feels louder, brighter, and busier to him than to other kids. Now meet Mia. She's 6 too, and she's autistic as well. But if you watched her at school, you might never guess it. Two children, the same diagnosis, two completely different pictures. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why autism can look so different in boys and girls, and what to watch for in your own child. Autism isn't one single picture. It's a spectrum, a wide range of ways a brain can process the world. Every autistic child is unique. But research shows something interesting. Boys are diagnosed with autism about 4 times more often than girls. Why the gap? For decades, scientists studied autism mostly in boys. Early diagnostic tools were built around how autism shows up in boys. Obvious repetitive movements, visible meltdowns, narrow interests. Girls were often left out of the research and out of the diagnosis. Tom loves trains. He lines them up for hours, perfectly in order. If you move one, he notices instantly. His teachers see this and think, that looks like autism. It matches what most people expect autism to look like. Mia loves horses. She draws them, reads about them, and knows every breed by heart. But loving horses doesn't look unusual for a little girl, so nobody thinks twice. Her intense, focused interest is just as real as Tom's, but it hides in plain sight. This is called masking or camouflaging. Many autistic girls learn, without even realizing it, to copy the social behavior of the kids around them, smiling when others smile, watching closely to know when to talk, when to stay quiet. Sarah, Tom's mom, remembers something similar from her own childhood friend. She always seemed fine at school, Sarah says. It was only at home, behind closed doors, that she'd fall apart from exhaustion. That exhaustion has a name: autistic burnout. Masking takes enormous energy. Imagine translating every social moment in real time, all day long. By the time Mia gets home from school, she's used up everything she had. That's why so many parents say she's an angel at school, but meltdowns start the second she's home. Boys, on the other hand, are often less likely to mask. When Tom feels overwhelmed by the classroom lights and noise, he might cover his ears, rock back and forth, or have a meltdown right there. It's visible. It gets noticed. That visibility means boys often get referred for evaluation earlier. Teachers and doctors see the signs and say, let's take a closer look. Girls, who quietly struggle inside while looking fine outside, often wait years longer for the same support. Studies show autistic girls are, on average, diagnosed later than autistic boys, sometimes not until the teenage years. By then, many have been misdiagnosed with anxiety or depression when autism was the real reason underneath the struggle. It's important to say clearly, autism isn't worse in boys or milder in girls. It's simply expressed differently. Mia's brain works just as autistically as Tom's. Her body has just learned to hide the signs more skillfully. Sensory sensitivities are one thing both Tom and Mia share. Loud sounds, scratchy fabric, bright lights, both feel these intensely. The difference is how they respond. Tom might cover his ears and cry. Mia might quietly endure it, then cry alone later. Restricted interests look different too. Boys are often drawn to systems, trains, maps, numbers, dinosaurs, interests adults quickly label as unusual. Girls often gravitate towards socially typical interests, animals, art, fictional worlds, so nobody questions the intensity behind them. At recess, Tom plays alone, lining up rocks by size. Kids notice and sometimes tease him. Mia, meanwhile, stands at the edge of a group, copying exactly what the other girls do. One beat behind, present, but not truly connected. This copying is exhausting, but it's also a survival skill. Many autistic girls become incredible observers of human behavior, almost like actors studying a script, just to fit in and avoid standing out. Michael, Tom's dad, once said something every parent should hear. "I used to think autism only looked one way. Meeting Mia's family taught me it can hide in a child who seems totally fine." Lily, Tom's big sister, has a school friend just like Mia. Quiet, polite, always following the rules. She never gets in trouble, Lily says. But sometimes at lunch, she just goes silent and won't talk to anyone for a while. That silence is often called a shutdown, the internal version of a meltdown. Instead of an outward explosion, the nervous system simply switches off, overwhelmed and needing to withdraw. Because shutdowns are quiet, they're easy to miss. A child who goes silent in the corner isn't usually seen as needing help, but inside, she may be feeling just as overwhelmed as a child who is visibly melting down. So how can parents recognize autism in daughters who mask well? Watch for exhaustion after school, intense meltdowns only at home, difficulty with unstructured social time, and friendships that feel more like careful performances than natural connection. For sons, watch for repetitive movements, strong reactions to sensory input, deep focus on specific interests, and difficulty reading unspoken social rules. But remember, these patterns can appear in any child, regardless of gender. Diagnosis isn't about fitting a child into a box. It's about understanding how their brain works, so parents and teachers can support them in the way that actually helps them. When Tom finally got the right support at school, his teacher stopped seeing bad behavior and started seeing sensory overload. That single shift in understanding changed how everyone treated him. The same is true for girls. When Mia's parents learned about masking, they stopped saying she's just shy and started asking, what does she need to feel safe enough to be herself? Genetics research is also catching up. Scientists have found that girls may need a higher genetic load to show noticeable autism traits, sometimes called the female protective effect, which may help explain part of the gender gap in diagnosis. But researchers agree, biology only explains part of the story. The rest comes from how differently boys and girls are raised, socialized, and observed by the adults around them. Because girls often mask so well, many are first diagnosed not with autism, but with anxiety, OCD, or an eating disorder. These can be real, too, but sometimes they're the surface of a deeper, undiagnosed autistic experience underneath. This doesn't mean one experience is harder than the other. Tom faces real challenges: social rejection, sensory pain, difficulty communicating. Mia faces her own: hidden exhaustion, anxiety, and the loneliness of never feeling truly understood. Every autistic child, whether visibly struggling or quietly masking, deserves the same thing: to be seen, understood, and supported exactly as they are. One evening, Mia finally broke down in front of her mother. "I'm so tired of pretending," she whispered. Her mother held her and said, "You don't have to pretend with me. Ever." That moment changed everything for Mia's family. They stopped asking her to try harder to fit in and started building a home where she could finally rest from performing all day. For Tom's family, support looked different. Noise-canceling headphones, warning before transitions, a quiet corner to retreat to. Different needs, same goal: helping a child feel safe in their own skin. Parents often ask, did I miss the signs in my daughter? The honest answer is, many parents do, because girls are simply harder to spot. That's not a failure. It's a gap in awareness that's only recently being closed. If your daughter seems fine at school, but falls apart at home, if she has intense but socially typical interests, or exhausts herself trying to keep up socially, it may be worth talking to a pediatrician about autism. even if no one else has suggested it. If your son struggles with sensory overwhelm, has strong, repetitive interests, or finds social rules hard to read, early support can make an enormous difference in how confident and understood he feels. Whichever child you're raising, remember this: a later diagnosis doesn't mean less autism. It often means more hidden struggle, carried alone for longer than it should have been. Understanding these differences isn't about labeling children. It's about widening what we picture when we hear the word autism, so no child is overlooked simply because they don't fit the stereotype. Tom and Mia may look nothing alike in how they show their autism, but underneath, they share the same need: a world that adjusts a little, instead of asking them to constantly adjust themselves. When Tom and Mia met at a community playgroup, something beautiful happened. Neither one had to explain themselves. They simply understood each other, without needing a single word. That's the power of connection between autistic children. A quiet understanding that doesn't require translation, because they both know what it feels like to experience the world so intensely. As parents, our job isn't to make our children look more typical. It's to help them feel safe, capable, and proud of exactly who they are. Trains, horses, headphones, and all. Awareness of these gender differences is growing every year. More doctors, teachers, and researchers now understand that autism doesn't always look like a stereotype from a textbook. That awareness means more children, especially girls, are finally getting recognized, supported, and understood earlier in life, before years of silent struggle pile up. If you recognize your child in Tom's story, or in Mia's, know this: you are not imagining things. And you are not alone in this journey. Every child on the spectrum, whether loud or quiet about their struggles, deserves patience, curiosity, and a parent willing to look past the surface. There is no single face of autism. There is only your child, unique, capable, and worthy of being understood exactly as they are. So here's the hopeful truth: understanding is growing. Tools are improving, and more children than ever are being seen for who they truly are at exactly the age they need it most. 3 practical tips. 1. If your child seems fine outside but struggles at home, take that seriously. 2. Look beyond stereotypes. Interests in animals or art can be just as intense as interests in trains. 3. Trust your gut and seek an evaluation if something feels different, even if others don't see it. Thank you for spending this time with Tom, Mia, and their families. If this video helped you understand your child a little better, subscribe for more compassionate, evidence-based videos on raising autistic children.